We've been going through this series, and the series is The Enemies Within. And just kind of throwing this out there, we've said this for several weeks. If we spend all of our strength fighting all the battles out there and fighting everybody out there, what happens is we lose the most important battles in here. If you spend your strength fighting the battles you don't need to fight, you'll probably lose the battles you really need to win, right? So that's why we talked about these enemies of the heart, and there's 4 of them, and it's guilt, anger, greed, and jealousy. Guilt, anger, greed, and jealousy. Now, what makes this so important for us today? The world that the next generation inherits will be the world that is developed from these 4 battles. I'm just going to kind of throw this out there as well. The world that you inherited from the previous generation has a lot to do with how well they did in those battles. See, some of us in this room, we know what it's like to have a guilty world around us where they kind of padded the process, and there's a lot of things that you wish you would have been prepared for that you weren't. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's like, man, I wish somebody would have told me, okay? Or maybe you grew up in an angry world, and then that became your problem-solving technique, and then you realize that anger is really a really bad solution to help relationships come along. Or maybe it's the greed where people are defined by their stuff. Or today we're talking about jealousy, and jealousy is a destroyer. These battles are important because we are helping develop the world that the next generation grew up in. Now, I believe that the next generation needs a better world than what we got. Anybody with me? Don't you want your kids to have a better world than what you inherited? I mean, think about it. And the thing I hear from people that are young all the time, they say, well, I want to make my own mistakes. That's a terrible idea. Because I've seen some of your mistakes. They're huge, right? So we really want a better world. Excuse me. So anyway, so today we're talking about guilt. All right? Now, or not guilt, I mean, we're talking about jealousy. So now here's what I thought. As soon as we come up with the idea of jealousy, I'm thinking, I'm good. I'm not jealous. I used to be, but I was young. But the jealousy I'm talking about, it's not the, hey, don't look at my girl kind of jealousy. And it's not that, you talking to my bae. I mean, it's not that kind of a jealousy kind of thing. That even sounded stupid coming out of my mouth. But see, it's not that kind of a jealousy. The jealousy I'm talking about is we're living in this world, and we look around and feel like somehow we got slighted. Somehow we got cheated and things aren't right. So somehow we deserve what somebody else has. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for Ernie. Just checking. This wasn't opened and drank by anybody else yet, right? It's yours? Oh, I'll drink after her. And other stuff. Anyway, you see, sometimes we look at life like we drew the short straw. Anybody got a short straw? Tell you what, let's try something. Compare your straw to somebody else's straw right now. Just hold them up. Just compare it to somebody else. Who got the long straw? Let me see. Who got the long straw? The others, they're losers. They're losers, right? Now, by the way, I made sure I got a longer straw than y'all. But anyway, just talk about now. Now, somebody said, well, this isn't big enough. See, it's not that kind of a straw. I generally don't have to deal with this except for new life. It's not that kind of a straw. But see, what happens is we look around life and we think, somehow we got cheated, somehow we got gypped, somehow it did work out right. And so what we do is we look around the world and we make the decision, you know what? I don't think that I got a fair shake, right? Now, you probably heard on the news that the iPhone 8 is coming out in a few days, right? iPhone 8. Everybody say 8. You can have an iPhone 8 for only $799. Hey. Or you can have an iPhone 10 if you wait a few more weeks. Now think, what happened to 9? Did I skip it? Really? But the iPhone 10, that's only going to be a mere $1,000. And so now here's how this plays out. If you currently have an iPhone 5, it's like, a 5, really? Now see, there's the pressure to get the new phone. There's the pressure to get the latest stuff. My friends, that is what jealousy is. When we look at what somebody else has and we think that we have to have that. Now, and what happens is we indebt ourselves, or we change our values, we make sacrifices we really honestly shouldn't be making to try to keep up with a line that's always moving. So here's what the Apostle Paul had to say about this. Now, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of friendly competition. But when it becomes jealousy, something gets much darker. Something changes on the inside. So here's what the Apostle Paul said to the Corinthian church, 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 20. He said, I'm afraid when I come, I'm not going to like what I see. And when I don't like what I see, I'm afraid you're not going to like what I say. Because the jealousy, the anger, the envy, and all that kind of stuff has served to create division, and you are not unified anymore. Here's the big deal, guys. This is why jealousy is a big issue, because jealousy is what divides people. The love of God is what unites people. That's what God's plan is. And so what happens is when we start looking at other people, or we're looking at other things, we're thinking, somehow that we should be treated better, that creates division, and it stops us from moving forward. You still with me? So now our assumption is that we're jealous of other people that have what we want. Right? That's our assumption. So let's kind of unpack that idea just a little bit. So if the girl that you're jealous of wore a size 18 instead of a size 6, would that honestly make you look better? Don't answer that. Matter of fact, gentlemen, look straight ahead. Just don't even flinch. Guys, just a little bit of coaching for guys' sake. When it comes to ladies, there's 3 things we don't talk about. We don't talk about weight. We don't talk about clothes size. And we never, ever discuss age. What happens when they ask you? You play dumb. That's coaching. That's free. That's for nothing. But see, and if the guy that you're jealous of suddenly loses his athletic ability, does that make you a better athlete? Or if that guy loses his job, or he gets demoted, is that going to make your job any easier? If somebody has a smaller house, an older car, if somebody gets worse grades, or if somebody deals with a problem, they have all these kind of stuff, is that going to make your life any better? The answer is absolutely not, because the problem is the people that we are jealous of can't do anything to balance the scales. It's impossible. Matter of fact, sometimes they don't even know that we're jealous of them. So obviously we're dealing with this stuff the wrong way. Now here's how this works. So if we still feel jealous, and that's still an issue, we look at them and say, well, they got all the breaks and I didn't get any breaks, right? So now even if you don't see yourself as jealous, if you somehow feel like that should be you instead of them, then jealousy is an issue. Tag, you're it. That's the deal. All right, now, with this in mind, think about this. If you look at them and something in you would feel better if they experience some kind of a tragedy, if you're looking at somebody you're jealous of and say, man, if they fall, it's going to feel so good. Guys, that's not okay. That creates these divisions. So jealousy in any fashion is something that destroys relationships. And because those who are jealous can't do anything about it, they can't do anything to even the score. We're actually not jealous of them. Guess where jealousy comes from? We're angry with God. Because God could have made us different. God could have given us a different body shape. God could have made us taller. God could have made us shorter. God could have made us with a different frame. God could have given us ability. God could have made us a little bit sharper. God could have, but God didn't. Therefore, we're angry with God. And so I deal with this stuff all the time. Now let me tell you this. God is okay with you being angry with him. Did you know that? He's fine with that. Now, let me unpack that a little bit, because he is big enough where it doesn't bother him, because he wants us to work through that. But I see this all the time, where people are mad at God. Well, God could have stepped in. God could have changed him. God could have turned this around. God could have made this turn out different, but he didn't. Therefore, we're angry. Because we look at somebody else, it's like, wait a minute, how come they have that life like that, and my life is what it is? Now, because that jealousy has no tangible place to land, because God is invisible, usually what happens is we take our jealousy out on the world around us. Have you ever been around somebody and you know that there's something wrong, but they say that there's nothing wrong? Because they're like snippy. Is that a word? I was thinking of another word, but that's the only one that came out. But you know, but jealousy isn't something that's unique to our culture. It's been around for a long time. Cain was jealous of his brother Abel, so in a fit of rage he killed his brother. That's bad. Ishmael was jealous of his little brother Isaac, and he picked on him so much that it destroyed their family. Joseph's brothers were jealous of Joseph because Daddy always played favorites, so they sold him. I mean, sir, how many of you guys got siblings? What if you'd ever thought that there was a market for them? I mean, man, what a cool deal. You go in their bedroom, you start moving furniture. What happens? Yeah, you just wait. But see, so jealousy, it's been around for a long time. It's nothing that is unique. And wasn't it the serpent that told Eve that God was cheating them? See, jealousy leads us down pathways there's no way that we need to walk. This is a really big deal. Now see, here's the deal. The lie that jealousy tells us, wait a second, life is supposed to be fair. Everybody say fair. But that's insane. And in the book of Romans, it tells us that God has gifted each of us in individual, unique ways. Get this, let's unpack this fair idea. If life was really honestly supposed to be fair, when you go to the doctor's office, you might have a mechanic see you. I mean, that's fair. He said, I've never really done surgery, but, I'd like to give it a shot. If life was really fair, your kids would get to control the budget every once in a while. That's a bad idea. See, the deal is God uniquely created each of us to be who we uniquely are. And when we're jealous of what God is doing for somebody else or not doing for us, in essence, we're unhappy with God. We're unhappy the way that God made things. So fair was really just, it's not a really good interpretation, because God created this world in microscopic detail in order for us to be, for every day, for every moment, for every created thing, to be uniquely what he created to be. That's the plan, right? And so now when we allow the enemy of jealousy to get inside of us, where we keep looking over the fence at what somebody else has, we become unhappy with who God made us to be. That's not God's plan. Matter of fact, it's Psalm 73. King David is looking around, and he makes this statement that is just so perfect for us. He goes, how come the wicked seem to prosper and I struggle so much? Anybody ever thought that? I'm doing my best here. I'm trying really hard, but it looks like they got it really easy. That is just so unfair. And in the last part of that chapter, he said, when I got perspective and I looked at the end result, I realized God had this great plan for my life. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's what makes jealousy such a big deal. See, we always lose sight of our purpose when we do that. Now, so what happens is jealousy creates this conflict. James chapter 4 verse 1, James said it like this. Do you know where the wars and fights come from? From the desires that you wrestle with within your own heart. My friends, the battle's not all the other people and all the other stuff and how you've been mistreated. The battle is a dissatisfaction with who God created you to be. It comes from in here. And see, now what it becomes a tragedy when that whisper inside of us convinces us somehow to take a bite. That's when things crash. It convinces us to take a bite, convinces us to do something about our condition, do something to turn things around, manipulate the system so it gives you what you've been looking for. And people would understand it. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a story. There's two twin brothers in the scripture. Their story goes from Genesis chapter 18 all the way to chapter 25. So these two brothers, or from 25 to 33, I'm sorry. So these two brothers, they're twins, but they're not the same. So Esau's the older brother by like minutes, and Jacob's the younger brother. So basically in their life, Esau is always first and Jacob is always second. Anybody ever feel like you're always like the butt end of the deal? You know, it's like, I'm never am the winner. You know, the blue ribbon never goes to me. You know, you're the one holding the water bottle. You know, you get it. So now the deal is that they're completely different. So Esau, he's rough and tumble and he's really talented. He's like the pro football guy. He just does all this kind of stuff. Jacob, on the other hand, he's kind of frail, but he's really, really sly. He really knows how to get it over on people. Now here's the problem. Isaac, their dad, Esau is his favorite. Anybody got a favorite kid? Yeah, you do. You're just not going to admit it. There are these people who, I treat all my kids the same. No, you don't. You got one you like. Yeah, you know. Everybody's got a good one. And then there's the other one. Right? So anyway, so Dad really likes Esau because he's a rough and tumble. But Rebecca, Mom, her favorite is Jacob. So she favors Jacob. Dad favors Esau. So, and they make it really, really obvious. Now it all goes along pretty good until Isaac announces that he is going to turn the family business over to Esau. So Mom gets like all upset. She's like, whoa. So she devises the plan. She is going to trick Dad into giving the business to Jacob. So she convinces Jacob to trick the blind dad. Anybody know what it is to have a blind dad? Here's how this works. Yeah, you do. Let me change the word blind. Anybody know what it is to have a clueless dad? He has no idea what's going on around him. Did you see that? What? And he'll hit pause. What do you talk about? What? So she convinces Jacob to fool Dad. Because she is convinced, I'm going to finally get the long straw from my boy. So this all comes down to the end of it. So Isaac is convinced that Jacob is Esau, so he gives him his blessing. Now watch this. This is the word that Jacob had been wanting to hear his whole life. He'd been waiting for this for years. So it's in Genesis chapter 27 and verse 29. Here's what he says. May nations serve you. Yeah, I'm in charge now. All y'all little people, right? May nations serve you and the peoples bow down to you. I just like the feel of that, don't you? Here, kiss it, right? But here's the part. Be Lord over your brothers. Esau has got the upper hand for the last time. I finally was able to work things around. I was finally able to get God's approval. I was finally able to get what I needed in life. Now here's the problem. Jealousy always catches up to the jealous. Listen to me, my friends, because so Jacob gets word that his brother is looking for him. Anybody ever got word that somebody's looking for you and it's not good? And he knows that this isn't going to go away. There is no way he can win this battle. I mean, he's toast. And so what happens is when he realizes that Esau is looking for him, what happens is he finds himself in a place where he's alone. Everybody say alone. Here's what I'm saying for you and I today. This is where this gets real. When life gets to a place where our manipulation, where our work in the system, where our trying to be jealous, when that stuff doesn't work out, we will find ourselves in a lonely spot. Anybody ever been in a lonely spot? Here's what I'm saying. That's a great place to be, because when you are alone, when there's nobody around you, that's where you can get real with God. I think it's time we get real with God. Anybody with me? It's time for you to get real with God. It's time for us. And so when he's alone with God, God asked him a question, and this is the same question I'm asking you today. The question is really simple. He said, who are you? Listen, my friends, this is so important. Who are you? Not who does everybody else think you are. Not what does everybody else say about you. Not what are you trying to prove to everybody else. Who are you? Not who do you want to be, but who have you become trying to be who you thought you wanted to be. Because oftentimes what happens to us, we get it. Trying to be somebody that we want to be sometimes makes us become a person we don't even know anymore. Who are you? In that place, because Jacob is worn down, he's tired, he's finally had it all, and he can't go any further. He finally gets real with God. And that's what I'm saying for us today. It's time for us to get real with God. So I'm Jacob. I'm not the guy everybody thinks I am. I'm not successful. I'm not talented. I'm the guy that took advantage of everything. I'm the guy that always tries to bend the rules. I'm the guy that always looks for the loophole. I'm the guy that always makes excuses. I'm the guy that blames everybody else, even God, instead of looking in the mirror and letting God do a work in me. That's who I am. I'm Jacob. My friend, you're sitting here today. You've been trying to fit somebody else's mold of who you're supposed to be. And it's never felt right. It's never worked out right. How come? Because that's not who God didn't make you to be somebody else. God made you to be you. You. Well, if that's his plan, why is all this crummy stuff going on? You don't know what God is going to do with all that crummy stuff. He might turn it into golden stuff. What's God want for you? But it's the question that Jacob asked God right before God asked him that really gives me insight into where he's at. So he asked God, can you bless me? Now watch this. Didn't he already receive his father's blessing? Didn't he already say that your brothers are going to serve? Didn't he already get that? So if he's already gotten that, why is he still looking? Because, my friend, here's the deal. Stolen blessing is not the blessing. Manipulated blessing is not. Manipulators don't win. They never do. Why? Because the jealousy always catches up to the jealous. When we try to be somebody else, it never works out. God wants you to be you and you alone. God created you very uniquely you. And you have this unique set of abilities and talents and the calling that he has in your life. Stop trying to be somebody else. And let God turn you into you. You know what I discovered? I'm a pretty doggone good me. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to brag just a little bit. I'm a way better me than I am a you. Yeah, I know that. Matter of fact, you know what? You would really suck at being me. But I'm good at it. God made you to be you. And when the enemy of our soul can get us focused on what everybody else is doing, what everybody else has, or this isn't happening, or why is this going on? Friends, we're missing the best stuff. We're missing God's good stuff. The blessing isn't what everybody else has. The blessing is who God made you to be. It's not out there. It's in here. If we follow Esau and Jacob's story just a little bit further, we find out where Jacob started honoring his brother rather than trying to take advantage of him. It says that Esau threw his arms open and they embraced and they wept. Because jealousy had divided what God meant to unite. The cure for the jealous heart every single time is celebration. If she fits into a size 8, applaud her weight loss. If he gets a promotion instead of you, applaud the promotion. If somebody does well, applaud that. So what you're doing is you're taking jealousy out. Say, well, wait a minute. I'm still mad at them. Do it anyway. What if I don't meet it? Eventually you will. Because you're trying to change this, not this. Jacob became a different person when instead of manipulating, he started celebrating. You know, when I got really sick and I couldn't function like I wanted to function, those guys stepped in and covered for me, man. Those guys did incredible, didn't they? Those guys were amazing. Check this out. When they did what they did, I went to them and said, man, dude, knocked it out of the park. Way to go. Great stuff. When I come back, I'm going to have to really step up my game because you guys killed it. Awesome. Their win is my win. That's what celebration does. Their win, your win is my win. See, when you win those battles, I'm back here going, yeah! Because whenever we lift somebody up, it raises us up a little bit higher. So let's finish with this. It's in Genesis chapter 32, verse 31, when it talks about this encounter that Jacob had with God. It says that when Jacob walked away, he walked away with a limp. You guys know what a limp is? Anybody ever limped before? What happened was the part of Jacob's life that he was leaning on, God wounded it. Here's what I'm saying for us today. If God doesn't wound what you've been leaning on, you'll probably never change. Some of you are looking at your life and you've been wounded. Anybody been wounded? Anybody ever have anybody talk bad about you? Anybody ever have a lie told on you? Anybody ever had your heart broken? Anybody ever been betrayed? Come on now, I need some friends here today. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had your heart wounded? Ever had your heart broken? Ever been disappointed with anything? My friend, you've been wounded. And here's what I'm saying. When God wounds what you've been leaning on, you become the different person. And when you become a different person, and instead of leaning on what you have, and instead of leaning on manipulation, instead of leaning on yourself, you begin to lean on God. God lifts you way up, and you become the person God wants you to be. That's what I'm saying here today. Yes, you've been wounded, but that's not tragedy, my friend. That's triumph. God has this great plan. So yeah, I've been through stuff. Yeah, it hurts. But God's going to take that and turn that into something fantastic. Like he told Jacob, I'm not going to call you Jacob anymore, but I'm going to call you Israel. I'm not going to call you the deceiver. I'm not going to tell you how you manipulate things. I'm going to call you prince with God. I'm going to call you my own. I'm going to call you belong to me. You don't belong to yourself. You don't belong because I made you special. I made you unique. I made you just something incredible so you could change the world around you. My friend, if you've been wounded, that's a good thing. Does it hurt? Oh, God, yes. But you'll never be the same because you don't want to be who you were. You want to be who he made you to be. Could I get you to bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment, please? You sitting in this room today, and there's a piece of you that's been broken. There's a piece of you that is hurting and you don't know how to heal. There's part of you that's angry. There's part of you that feels like, you know what, this is just so unfair. If I'm describing you today, all I want you to do while you're just sitting there, just lift your hand up real quick, put it right back down. Say, Pastor Dave, that's me. Hands all over this room. Hands all over this room. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody ever had your heart broken and you're still trying to recover? Come on now, let me see your hand. Come on. Anybody been lied about or been betrayed? Let me see your hand. Come on, right now. Right now. That wound, my friend, it's not going to change you into somebody bitter. It's going to change you into somebody better. And you're going to walk away different. Here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to surrender that part of your life to God. Just hand it over. Could y'all stand this morning, please? You didn't get the short straw. You didn't. You got yours. Unique, special, just you. I mean, think about this. How is it possible that you are supposed to be like somebody else when you can get a DNA test and they can get it down to just you? How is that possible? How is it possible that you're supposed to be somebody else when they can check your fingerprints and are not like anybody else who's ever been on the face of the planet? See, God made you uniquely you. Why in the world would you want to be anything less? Those wounded places, that broken stuff in you is not here to destroy you. It's here to change you. You spent your entire life trying to fit somebody else's mold and you wonder why you never fit in. You're not supposed to. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to pray. Whatever it is, what garbage that you carried in that is just messing you up, you're going to leave it here. Is that right? Okay? Anybody want to leave it here? Don't pack that stuff out. Anybody take out the trash the last couple of days at home? You ever take out the trash? Come on, let me see. You know why you take out the trash? Because if you don't, it stinks. Now, I'm saying this because not everybody gets this. Because men, it's not about smell, it's about capacity. If the milk carton does not fall on the floor, it's not time to take out the trash, right? But really, the reason that you take out the trash is because if you leave it there, it'll stink up the whole house. Here's what I'm saying for you and I. It's time for you, in your heart and in your life, to take out the trash, okay? So you can walk out of here free and clear once and for all. So what you do is you open your hands. Okay, God, here it is. I'm handing this to you. I don't want to handle this no more. So you leave it here. So even if you don't come and pray with one of our prayer partners, which I highly encourage, whatever it is, even if you pray right there, whatever you carried in, whatever garbage that has happened to you, whatever that has happened to you that is unfair, leave it here. Okay? All right, you guys with me? You can leave it here? But I think some of you guys here today, you need to pray with one of our prayer partners. You need somebody to partner with you to give you strength and courage. But today, don't walk out of here the way you walked in. All right? Let's pray.